The hosts of Bracketology are experts in nothing. They claim no advanced knowledge or profound insights. Instead, they are just three judgmental idiots who really like to bloviate their own opinions whenever given the chance. Take what they have to say with a grain of salt, or not at all. You'll probably be better off that way.
Hello, gentlemen. Nice to see you again.
Yeah.
So,
fuck you!
Whoa.
Wow, I mean, that's fair. All right, so we're recording this like a week after Halloween.
Sure. Actually,
And
like 9 days, but yeah.
a week and 2 days, whatever.
It is at least 48 hours.
Yes. And so I want to play a game.
I realized that I screamed "fuck you" at the top of my lungs in an apartment. That just occurred to me.
The recording will be interrupted later by wee woo wee woo.
You want to play a game?
Yes, I've devised a game for you. So
You gotta say it like the dude from Saw.
do you want to play a game? I have to my left here a variety of candies that I stole directly out of my kids' Halloween candy bowl.
Mm-hmm.
You all have to determine what candy I am consuming. So what we'll do is I'll give you an auditory experience of me eating the candy.
I don't like this at all.
And then I'm going to say the name of our podcast, Bracketology, with the candy in my mouth. And through those clues, you have to determine what candy I'm eating.
All right. Fair
this
warning.
is going to drive, listeners crazy.
Fair warning to everybody with misophonia. Skip like 12 minutes.
Do you think that's that big of a problem?
We don't have enough listeners for it to be a big problem.
Okay. All right. First candy bar.
Oh,
I'm going
well.
to conceal it. So here it is. Concealed.
All right. Well, there's some chocolate there because he didn't hide it or conceal it very well.
Yeah, this 100%.
Bracketology.
This 100% is just an excuse for his ass to eat candy.
On camera?
Yeah.
And give it
All
for
right.
free instead.
I'm gonna say it was a Snickers bar.
I'm thinking, because there's a little bit of crunch in there. There's a little bit. Yeah, that's not doing anything.
Trying to help.
There's a little bit of crunch in there. But based on how much I'm going to go Butterfinger.
Not enough crunch for a Butterfinger, but I'm going Snickers.
Well, he put the whole thing in his mouth. He just deep-throated the entire candy bar.
Yeah, it was a king-size candy bar.
It was a fun size.
For those that aren't watching on YouTube, it was a king-size candy bar. He ate it like
he just grapefruited that fucking...
Matt, you were keen to pick up on the crunch that Dan, I believe, probably missed.
There is some crunch in a Snickers. It's got nuts.
Oh, okay.
But not the same kind of crunch. Like, it's almost Kit Kat-y.
Listen, Dan is also right in that a Butterfinger, I think, would have a lot more crunch. That was, in fact, a Twix bar.
Mm.
See, I was trying to think of something with caramel, and then I got like distracted with peanut butter.
Fair enough. All right, number 2.
That happens to me a lot. So that had a lot of crunch to it. Ooh, that's gross. I'm going to need you to stop that.
I'm gonna cut that out.
Bracketology.
Can I just say candy corn because it's gross and you're gross?
That was a Kit Kat.
I would never eat candy corn, not even for a bit. That shit's nasty. It was, in fact, a Kit Kat. Points for Matt. All right, we'll do
like wrong though.
Well, it should. Yeah, we'll do one more. Hold on. I need a palate cleanser.
This is literally just an excuse for him to eat candy bars, and I can't believe
I don't need an excuse. I have 4 more over here that I'm definitely going to eat at some point, and a whole bag of pumpkin-shaped Reese's under my desk. I need no excuses. All right, here we go. Last one.
I never thought I was going to see your O face on this podcast.
Bracketology.
Ashley.
All right, well, this is Laffy Taffy, clearly, of some kind.
Bracketology.
Yeah, it's some kind of like
It's fruity.
airhead. Maybe it's an airhead.
Might be
Isn't
an
that what they're
airhead.
called?
I'm going to go with Laffy Taffy. You're going with airhead?
Yeah.
You're both very close, but you missed the obvious answer of a starburst. 2, actually, starbursts at the same time.
You ate 2 Starbursts at the
Well,
same
he did
time?
just
No.
spit them both out.
I
So.
chewed on them. Could not finish.
Well, you chose the yellow Starburst.
I didn't choose anything. It's the 2 that were in the fun side. Do you not know how kids' Halloween candy works?
I don't have a kid.
That's good.
Burn. You handed out candy, didn't you?
Yeah, but I try not to eat it.
Yeah, but try not to and didn't are 2 different things.
Yeah, but I usually go with like the Reese's, Kit Kat, Twix.
Sorry, with
Those
the what?
are
What was that first one again?
Reese's.
Yeah, you're wrong.
That's not right.
Yeah.
What do you mean that's not right?
It's
Reese's.
Reese's.
Whatever.
You don't say Danzies.
Hello and welcome to Bracketology, the podcast that definitively decides all things tournament bracket style. I am the co-host scheduled to go first. My name is Scott Grubb.
Nobody gave me a schedule. I'm Matt Robinson.
You showed up on time.
Oh, that's because I'm always here.
Matt showed up on time, Robinson.
And I'm just happy to be here day in default.
This week, we welcome you as we kick off a new full-length 32 member bracket. Gentlemen, what are we kicking off this week?
We have the best TV mom that we're going to be talking about. We're going to be going through all of the different forms of mothers in television history. Well, yeah.
I think that's pretty fair.
I was going to say, do we have a cutoff? But no, we go back pretty far.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess that's probably where we have to start since we are introducing a whole new bracket. Dan, how did what was the process for putting together the 32 we start with?
Painstaking.
Yeah.
So originally we had decided to try to do brackets, and then we realized that it was way too difficult to do that.
Like divisions.
There have been a lot of really great fictional moms.
At least 32.
And we decided to go away from divisions for the first time and just throw up the 32 best moms in TV history, and they span all genres. So you have a little bit of reality, a little bit of cartoon, a little bit of comedy, and everything in between.
So my question from this, and I think this is the logical next part of the conversation, is how are we judging these moms, right? Because in the last few brackets that we've had, full brackets especially, a lot of it has come down to the name of the bracket or gut feeling, right? But like, what are we defining as good or best TV mom? Is it somebody that we want to be our moms?
I think ultimately, like, if we get in a pickle and we're stuck in a debate, maybe an internal debate, I think that could be like the ultimate question we ask ourselves to move someone along. But I think there's a lot of things that define what make up a good mom, let alone the best mom.
Yeah.
I think this is also an opportunity for us to go ahead and shout out our moms, because we love our moms. But these are other moms that we would like to have.
We love your moms too. Everyone that's listening, I love your mom too.
This is coming out on Mother's Day, right?
Shout out to your mama.
They made you and put you here, and for that, I love them.
And a little bit of a reminder here. I think in the first stage, we just need to go off gut feeling we'll get into the thick debates as we move into the
Ooh.
bracket.
Thick with 8 Ks.
Yeah,
Is
thick.
is that one of the factors we will consider as we're talking about best TV moms?
It's not.
See,
one
that's
of
the other thing. Or is it best MILF? You know what I mean? Like,
Whoa, that we've never introduced that aspect of this conversation.
Mom, I'd like to have fun with.
yeah, whether it's on a roller coaster, at the Apple Store, other places to hang out.
A red room.
Whoa. See, you took it there.
Like a movie theater with the red curtains on the walls,
Sure.
That's what I meant. Yeah. That's
So
what I meant.
I think we still have them broken out.
Okay. So yes. Sorry. Go ahead. I got excited. I apologize.
So we still have them broken out into 4 kind of divisions, but it's all really based on a randomization. We came up with the list of 32. Scott had to Google for hours on end to find a randomizer. And then we put them into a random order and then put them onto here. But they are still technically in divisions because that's how brackets work. So,
so physically, yes, but there's no definition. Like we were going to do like genres, and then we talked about decades, and we just found so many things where stuff didn't fit right, or we couldn't get 8 in one and not, we had too many in one and not enough in another. It just made more sense for us to randomize. So with all of that being said, all that conjecture, should we probably get going?
Yeah. So that was going to be my question: is do we just go with the left on this, the West, if you will, for this first episode?
I'm down for that.
Just go down the
Down
list.
to clown.
All right. Well, on the clowning's participation, let's start with the Partridge Family, Shirley Partridge versus Reba Hart. So I do have to ask, is this Reba from the show Reba?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's Reba's character, Reba McEntire's character, Reba Hart from the show Reba.
All right. So at least one of us knows all of these moms. There are times where many of us or 2 of us will not have any fucking clue who the mom is, but we've tried to be, inclusive here.
Right.
So as much old TV as I watched, I never really watched the Partridge Family.
I'm actually with you on that. Like, I'm a big fan of MASH. I definitely watched Brady Bunch and all that as a kid. But I don't know, the Partridge Family just, I guess because, I don't know, the Brady Bunch was just a bigger phenomenon. I think it kind of put Partridge Family in its shadow a little bit.
Yeah.
So I did not watch much of it either.
I
know the premise.
I know a little bit about it. Like, what can you, right off the bat, just like kind of bullet points? Can anybody give me some highlights for Shirley?
Well, so the big thing I remember about the Partridge Family is that it was a family of musicians, and they would go around and perform.
Yeah, they were like, we're all like a big family band that toured.
Exactly. I know that they had 5 children.
I think there was unusual sexual tension between 2 of them.
Of the children?
Yeah. Like the actor and actress.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you could say that about so many.
You could also say about the Bradys, I think.
Yeah, the
but,
Brady Bunch too.
But
yeah, that's the biggest things that I know. She seemed very caring, kind of an independent mom, especially for that time period. But yeah.
So the woman who played Shirley Partridge is named Shirley Jones.
Mm-hmm.
She's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Rocked a nice neckerchief sometimes, it seems.
An ascot, one might say.
I think those are 2 different things.
Okay.
But
I stand kind of corrected.
I don't really know enough about her to actually say that she's the best TV mom. I did watch Reba, so that's where the one guy got his start, and he was really good. I know we're not talking about the TV show, but I did watch Reba.
Yeah. And I know the guy you're talking about, but I don't know his name.
But he's a somewhat successful actor at this point,
Yeah.
right?
He's gone undone in quite a few things since Reba.
So I mean, I think I gotta just gut feeling throw my vote in for Reba at this point.
Yeah, I think we're seeing more and more these days with kids that are getting put on social media and the damage that it has on them in the long run. For Shirley Partridge should be out there touting her kids around the country and maybe depriving them of that normal upbringing. It raises some questions about her decision making skills.
Yeah,
I would have to go Reba as well.
Yeah, I agree. Putting your kids through show business, not really a good idea. I think she was a good guide force for him, but Reba was a single mom in that show.
Well,
and I was raised by a single mom, so my vote goes to Reba.
Was she a single
Not like
mom?
it mattered.
Like, because there was a dude in that show.
The dad was still, they're around in co-parenting, yes.
But sitcom single mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. Who's up next? Reba moves on.
Up next, we have Skylar White from Breaking Bad and Lorelai Gilmore from Gilmore Girls.
Man, two polar opposites in terms of everything.
I think this may very well define what makes a good versus bad TV mom here.
So,
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dan.
I was just going to say, I am not familiar with Gilmore Girls enough to make any kind of determination, but Skylar White from Breaking Bad is doo-doo water when it comes to being a good mom. Not only did she like co-sign a meth empire, but she, did so at the detriment of her kids. And yeah, such a bad role model and parent. I know that she was trying to do the right thing in a terrible situation, but man, rough.
So I'm gonna break some hearts. I never watched all of Breaking Bad. I watched like 3 seasons, and I don't remember her being involved in the meth empire at all up through those like 3 seasons. So
she was helping him launder money, like clean his money. She bought.
Yeah, you got to keep watching that show, buddy.
So
brother.
Here's the thing: I got like real into it, right? Once it was like it was done, it was on Netflix. I started watching it on Netflix, and my ex's brother-in-law started watching it on my Netflix at the same time, and he was watching it much faster than I was, so I lost where I was at in the show, and then just decided it's not worth it.
No, you should absolutely restart it and finish it.
Now, what I will say is that Lorelai Gilmore, absolutely gorgeous, cares about her daughter. Look, priorities. Okay. Cares about her daughter, cares about her town, like not just what's in her home, but how the town is and affects her family.
She's trying to build a community for her daughter.
Absolutely. You got to go with Lorelai on this one.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Dan, is that kind of what you were
Yeah,
leaning
100%.
towards?
It's not even close for me.
Also, just to be clear, did you say your ex's brother-in-law?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be your brother?
No.
Ex's brother-in-law from another marriage? I don't.
So my ex's sister's husband.
Oh.
Ex's brother-in-law. Like, it's pretty, I don't know.
Couldn't you also just say my former brother-in-law?
Yeah, but that feels like, I could also just say my ex-brother-in-law, but that feels weird.
Yeah.
So I felt like I needed to explain it. I'm glad that we aired that on the podcast.
But my ex-brother-in-law is more accurate. Because my ex's brother-in-law is just a long-winded way of saying my brother.
He's still my ex's brother-in-law.
Up next, we have Claire Duffy from Modern Family.
Modern Family.
Versus Samantha Stevens from Bewitched. As you might be able to tell by the question mark at the end of my first sentence, I am not familiar with Claire Duffy.
So I am familiar with Claire Duffy. I watched all of Modern Family.
I believe my wife did.
Truly, I think
I think.
it is that and The Office hold the title of like the ideal mockumentaries. Because that's basically what it is, right? It's a mockumentary where it's following around a quote unquote modern family. They do sit down interviews and stuff. Claire's hilarious in it, but she's also based on the fact that knowing that show. Dan, have you watched the show?
No.
Oh, fuck.
Is she the one married to Ed O'Neill's character?
No, Ed O'Neill is her dad. Sofia Vergara is Ed O'Neill's.
Okay,
wife.
I know the one you're talking about then. She's married to the really tall guy,
Yeah.
right? And there was a season there where she was like pregnant and they had to like hide her belly all the time, right?
They did.
Okay, so I know, I know of the show. I'm pretty sure my wife watched it. Okay, anyway.
So I'll just throw out there that I think that in the show's story, she doesn't really have a mom to help raise her. Like it was Ed O'Neill. It was her dad is basically the only one that raised her and her brother. And considering that, she seemed like a very well-adjusted mother in that show, considering, that it's a sitcom and crazy things happen. And, there's a lot going on, but I thought she was pretty good. Now, Samantha Stevens, Bewitched. Big fan of Bewitched.
Like I'm familiar with the show, and I definitely remember like watching it as a kid, but I don't remember a lot about like her as a mother. Yeah.
I don't know when that came about, but yeah.
I was gonna say, is this like a Lucy show scenario where she didn't have a kid the whole time and it was like introduced later?
So I believe that now this is from the show. So, oh no, I'm thinking of I Dream of Jeannie. Oh shit, I got him confused. One of the shows, the guy that she marries has a kid, I believe. And so she becomes like a stepmom. But I think that's I Dream of Jeannie in a way.
Yeah, that's I Dream of Jeannie. Her son's name was Adam Stevens, and then she had Tabitha. I think Tabitha was her first. And from what I remember, she also had her mother's powers.
Yes. So according to Google YouTube videos, Sam and Darren's kid got magical powers. Bewitched TV show. So
yeah, I do kind of remember that being a plot point where like the kids causing mayhem or whatever.
I don't know if this factors into our judgment or not, but one of the cool things just about this show, keep in mind when it aired, right? The magic / witchcraft was kind of a metaphor for female empowerment. And you think about, again, the time period that this happened and this kind of breaking that barrier. It's kind of cool.
Does that make her a better mom?
I didn't say that's why I prefaced that by saying I don't know if that factors in or should factor into the voting, but it is kind of cool. Well, it's actually really cool, but does that sway the vote?
Does anyone have any strong feelings?
I'm just more familiar with Bewitched, so that's getting my vote.
I mean, I think I love Bewitched. That is one of those older shows that I did certainly watch. But I do think that Claire's a better mom. So I'm going to go with Claire.
Oh.
I am going to... I don't know that I can say that Claire is a better mom than Samantha, but given that Modern Family is a much more modern TV show, I'm sure that she was probably thrown a lot of curveballs and things that Samantha Stevens probably didn't. We didn't see Samantha Stevens deal with on TV in the 60s, but we see it on TV today. And so that makes her, I think, a better TV mom for sure. So I'm going to have to say Claire Duffy as well.
Samantha Stevens was raising a child with magic powers. Okay.
In a way, so was Claire, because her middle child, played by Winter something, is incredibly brilliant in a way. Just saying.
There you go.
All right.
Is it Winter Stevens?
Maybe.
No, I'm making that up. What is that guy's name? I know who you're talking about.
Well, while you're doing that, we can move on.
No, you're mixing them up. You're not talking about Ariel Winter.
Yeah.
Oh, so something Winter.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead. Moving on.
Let's move on to our next match, where we have Chili Healer versus Morticia Addams. This is kind of tough.
All right. So should we explain who Chili Healer is?
Probably. But honestly, these days, I don't know if we need to. Prior to me telling you, did you guys know who Chili Healer was?
So I've known of the show, but I've never seen it, obviously, or know about it all that much.
So Chili Healer is Bluey's mom from the Disney show Bluey. She is magnificent. She is a role model for moms everywhere. Just like the dad in that show is a role model for dads everywhere.
Sounds like we know what Scott's vote is. Jeez.
I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah, but Chili Healer is going up against Morticia Addams.
Look, okay, let's go ahead. I'll go ahead with the conversation first.
This is going to be another cartoon character.
No, it won't be.
It
won't be. It won't be. Well, it might be, but go ahead and go ahead. We know where I'm at.
I've never seen that cartoon, but I will say Morticia Addams, it's kind of questionable too, because the Addams family, especially the movies, she is just totally down with letting her kids play with dangerous objects, electric chairs, very sharp knives, but in their way, that is a sign of love and trust. And she keeps that crazy motley crew in order, and you cannot say at all that she does not love her kids or would die for them. Those are the kind of qualities that you want to have.
Well, I definitely also think that there's what's the right way of putting it? There's a longevity to Morticia Addams and her motherhood. Because the
comic
decades.
Book series, started forever ago.
And Wednesday, clearly one of the most popular characters in TV today, was raised by Morticia.
Yep.
So, what's your vote, Dan?
I'm going Morticia Addams.
So we got one vote Chili, one vote Morticia. Oh,
Scott, is that your official vote?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Morticia. She is drop dead gorgeous.
She's the original BTGG.
At what? Big tittied goth girl? Got you. Took me a hot second to get there, but I got it.
Oh, Jesus.
All right. I think for the sake of the Gen Z votes and the Gen Alpha votes, this one's a hard one.
No, it's not.
Yeah, you're right. Morticia moves on.
Okay, no, hold on. Now listen. No. Stop. Don't put her name there. I want to put a pin in this conversation. I'm pulling a chain that has never been pulled before. I am asking you all for us to not finalize this vote.
What?
I am asking as a favor for all of Gen Z, for every parent out there that might listen to this podcast, we put a pin in this one. You give me 2 episodes of Bluey. And I say episodes, they're not 30-minute episodes. They're cartoons. They're like 5-minute shorts, like watching 2 Looney Tunes. You give me 2 episodes of Bluey, and then we come back and we vote on this next week. Between now and, or not next week, the week after, we'll come back and we'll do this one and jump them ahead. But you need to see, because I know you have no frame of reference for this. You only know what's culturally out there about Bluey. You have to give me 2 episodes. This isn't the SpongeBob thing where we know enough about SpongeBob to debate back and forth. This is an area where there's no other word for it. We have to solve your ignorance before we can move this conversation along. You don't know Chili Healer well enough to make this vote. Can we do this?
I mean, yeah. It's not a hard ask, I guess, you know.
Here's the thing. What is going to be very funny to me is when you give us these 2 ridiculous cartoon episodes to watch, and we come back next week and still vote for Morticia Adams.
I will at least be able to sleep better at night, knowing that you are familiar enough with Chili Healer to make an educated decision.
Now, is this going to be one of those situations where you're okay enough to still like be arguing with me months later? Like,
no, just a couple days. Just a couple days.
Hey, speaking of that, I have a story, but I think I will agree. I will agree to your demands.
Okay.
We don't normally negotiate with terrorists, but I will agree to your demands with one caveat.
Hit me with it.
We do it as a watch party.
Oh,
so we can riff track it.
I'm not mad at that idea.
Okay. Okay. I'm down with that.
All right.
We'll carve out a time. I'll figure out what 2 episodes I want to show you, and we will watch them together.
Is this okay? Let's just move forward.
Okay. So before we move on to the next division, real quick story, just because it got brought up. I was doing my laundry today at the laundromat, right? Took all my stuff, took my bed sheets, made my bed, and then my dog immediately messed it up.
Excuses.
While I was at the laundromat, they have multiple TVs, and they're playing different things, right? One of the things they were playing was SpongeBob.
Good.
And I fucking hated it, but because it's so bad, it's so stupid. But in the episode that I was watching, the opening Chiron, and then it says guest starring. You know who it was guest starring?
Was it the Bob Barker episode?
It was Bob Barker, yes.
That's funny. That's funny.
Then SpongeBob went on to adopt 734 different snails that turned him into a monster, and Bob Barker was the snail guy. At the end said, spay and neuter your pets. So he was the cool guy. So anyway, next division. So Bob Barker's better than SpongeBob. Next division. We've got... what do we got?
Sorry.
No, fuck you. You go.
Carol Brady and Kitty Foreman.
All right. 2 things. One, I don't know if you did spell check. So on your list, you spelled Kitty Foreman without the E, and that looked real wrong.
No, probably just, bad fingering.
Is that so?
That's all I can think.
It is spelled KITTIFORMAN.
It's just FORMAN.
Yes, there is no.
So I was right, and you put Kitty in there incorrectly.
What?
It's KITTI.
No, it's KITTY.
You said I.
Well, I meant Y. Listen to what I mean.
Okay, well, either way, then I had it right. Carol Brady and Kitty Foreman. What do we think?
All right,
I mean, this is tough. Like, Carol Brady
tough.
is... the original, well, not the original, but like one of the most famous early TV moms.
Yeah, she's kind of iconic in that way.
Yeah.
But
Her house didn't have a bathroom.
if you say so. What? Anyway, now I'm lost.
I don't know where that went either.
Yeah, what do you mean it didn't have a bathroom?
I don't know.
Okay.
You just you just made shit up completely?
No, it literally didn't have a bathroom.
What are you talking about?
The house didn't have a bathroom. Let's move on.
Kitty Foreman. Okay, Carol Brady had a nanny to help her. Kitty Foreman was doing it on her own. She was making them dinners herself. And Red sure as hell wasn't helping.
Who are you saying didn't have a bathroom?
The Brady family, apparently.
No, that's incorrect.
Yeah, I was saying, I'm pretty sure there were shots in bathrooms.
It didn't have a toilet in the bathroom. Never mind.
Yeah, the toilet was not shown because networks considered it crude.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I was
Doesn't mean there's no toilet.
Man, isn't it crazy how different society is these days?
Fucking Chekhov's toilet. It's still there. It exists and doesn't exist at the same time.
Well, I'm glad we got that important debate settled. So anyway, Kitty Foreman doesn't have a nanny helping her out. She's doing it all on her own. Granted, she doesn't have as many kids to deal with.
I mean, kind of. She does, though.
Yeah,
you know,
that's true. They are always in her basement. She's always feeding Fez and everyone
Fez
else.
Essentially lives there. Hyde moves in at one
point.
They took Hyde in.
That's true.
Kelso is an idiot, and
eating their food all the time.
And also, Kelso slept with Eric's sister.
That's true.
True.
Yeah.
I have a pretty immediate answer to this that I think might upset some people.
I think another, because I'm with you. I'm trying to justify here. I think the same way anyway. Trying to justify mine a little bit too. Carol and Mr. Brady, what was his name?
Mr. Brady.
Anyway, they were both pretty well adjusted and like super loving 1960s relationship. Mm-hmm. Kitty had to play buffer from between Red and everyone else quite a bit. So anyway.
Well, she definitely raised some very well-adjusted children, considering there was rampant abuse from Red. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was always verbal, though. Like,
abuse is abuse, Dan.
warning.
Don't stand for it.
Yeah,
seriously, don't try and minimize someone else's experience.
I did not mean to gaslight Eric Foreman. I apologize. Abuse is abuse.
What's our votes?
I got to go Kitty Foreman. I mean, I also just loved that 70s show. I thought that it was, I was in high school. Like it hit for me. So the Brady Bunch was never my go-to. Like I watched episodes, but definitely wasn't for Carol.
Yeah.
So I was going to vote for Carol, honestly, when this started, because she's just so iconic as a TV mom. But then, Scott, I hate to admit it, you brought up a really good point. Carol Brady had a nanny to help her clean and cook and do all that stuff. Kitty was doing it all her own.
Did Carol Brady have a job outside the house?
No, I don't think so. She might have in some episodes helped out at the butcher or,
I know he was an architect, right?
Yes, he was an architect.
Okay, yeah.
But Kitty also didn't have a job, but still her job was being a full-time parent. That is not the same thing.
No, Kitty did have a job for a little while. Kitty Foreman.
No, Kitty definitely had a job. She worked at the
She worked at a
store.
hospital.
Oh, no, yeah.
You're
right. She was a nurse.
Hospital, yeah. I remember her
Yeah.
in a nurse outfit or nurse uniform.
Yeah, she was okay. Yeah, Kitty Foreman 100% gets my vote. That woman's out there being a nurse, helping sick people, raising her family, cooking all the dinners, cooking all the food. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kitty Foreman. That's
I think
vote.
Carol Brady is like, it's right for her to be iconic, maybe just because of where she started, but yeah, in comparison, like Kitty's knocking it out of the park.
Yep.
Matt, was that your controversial vote as well?
That was my controversial vote as well.
I mean, look, again, I think we're all saying the same thing, right? Carol Brady's iconic for a reason, but when it comes to best mom,
I would much rather have Kitty Foreman as a mom, just alone for her
her
food.
laugh. Oh,
yeah, sure.
I thought you were going to say ass.
No, no. Her laugh. She just has such a fun laugh.
All right. Harriet Winslow versus Peg Bundy.
Man, this is an interesting one because Harriet Winslow, clearly a better mother.
Yeah.
Peg Bundy, though, a much more entertaining person to have around you at all times.
Yeah, great for TV.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like if I feel like if Married with Children was made in that kind of mockumentary style, it would give her a bit of an edge, because then it's kind of like it's not a character created for TV. It's like it's a person that they're putting on TV. Does that make sense? But
yeah.
I mean, going back to our previous debate just then, where we talked about iconic versus what it means to be a good mom, I don't think Peg Bundy is quite what it means to be a good mom.
No. And I think there are a lot of like examples of that and reasons for that. Her son was a huge pervert that would go around saying the nastiest things to women. And then her daughter was lacking some morals as well. And you have to also assume, like, if you grew up in that household and you watched your parents say those negative, nasty things to each other at the frequency that they did.
Yeah, but I feel like for them that was their love language, right? Because they still showed that on occasion. In a way, like I'm not here to yuck anybody's yum. I'm just saying that I think that in a way their dysfunction was a part of their love and their relationship. However,
they are a family that talk to each other and show affection for each other the same way that a group of guys show friendship, affection toward each other.
In probably not a healthy way.
I'm just not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying, think about how we greet each other anytime we talk.
That's true.
It's not far from how they do it on that show.
That's true. For me, I think this is an easy vote. I loved Peggy Bundy. I liked Married with Children. And even beyond that, I think the actress that played Peggy Bundy has been tremendous in vocal work. And things.
We will talk about her again in this bracket.
Yeah. But that being said, Harriet Winslow was like running that house, and she kept everything in order.
Just for the listeners out there, the house in what show? Because we haven't even
Family Matters.
So we haven't even started there. Yeah,
it's the Urkel show. For those of you that are, Harriet Winslow was the mom, not Urkel's mom. But
didn't they lose a child in Family Matters?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. Maybe
didn't they, like Roseanne style? Remember, there was a kid.
So.
Hold on, Family Matters. Kid disappears in the series' fourth season. Judy's character simply disappeared at the age of 13 with no explanation as to why. As the show started revolving more around Urkel, the producers of the show thought that Judy was unneeded and she was more of a background character who was given very few lines. So 4 seasons this 13-year-old girl exists, and then all of a sudden just poof.
Yeah, but that's based on the writers. You know, we could say the same thing about Kitty Foreman and how her daughter was all of a sudden a new actress because the one that originally played her daughter was going through some life shit.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
You know, and that is 100% out of her control. So
we're not going to let production decisions like that affect our
it's not like she murdered her kid.
Yeah, it wasn't written as a storyline where she, accidentally dropped her baby down a well.
Oh well.
It just ceased. It was Thanos snapped out of existence.
She just hits Lassie's nose with a newspaper. You say nothing. Yeah, I think Harriet Winslow's got to move on for me.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Absolutely. There was never really any debate. Peggy Bundy was just more funny to talk about.
Well, then that takes us to our next one, Moira Rose versus Lucille Bluth. Two modern moms.
I I like the fate of the randomizer putting the two of these together.
They seem very similar, if
They-
I'm being honest.
So I've never watched Schitt's Creek.
Me neither.
But I know enough about it to know that she's a terrible, terrible mom. But so is Lucille Bluth.
But see, that's the thing. I don't know.
I think more, but again, with my limited knowledge from what I've seen from like a few clips on TikTok, I think Moira Rose is not a great mom, but not for lack of trying.
Yes.
I don't think Lucille Bluth ever tried.
And I think you're hitting the nail on the head right there, because Moira Rose does try, and there are some episodes where, it's kind of endearing what she does and says for her kids. I think she is just incredibly used to the wealth that family used to have and things being done for her, and it was an adjustment going to a not wealthy lifestyle and living the way that they did.
I mean, that kind of happens with Lucille Bluth too.
Yeah, but Lucille Bluth is willing to throw her family under the bus in order to maintain her lifestyle.
You're absolutely right in every way. I mean, I like I said, I don't know. I've never seen Schitt's Creek. I know a lot of people really enjoy it. I know that Moira is a beloved character. Still.
It's next on my watch list. We're finishing this season of Great British Baking Show, and then we're going to Schitt's Creek. But
it's the same thing, really. But I do think that with how bad Lucille Bluth is as a mother, like all of her kids hate her. Like that,
well, yeah, I guess that's true.
I mean,
at some point, at various points and throughout the show, yeah, that is true. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that you have to move Moira on by like default.
Yeah, pretty much. All right. Oh, this is an interesting. It's funny. I didn't read ahead. I like being surprised by the matchup. This is an interesting one as well.
Yeah. Wow.
What's funny? Actually, now I did. Well, anyway. Yeah. What do we got next?
Dee Dee Pickles from Rugrats versus Jane Jetson from the Jetsons.
Interesting. We got an animated matchup here.
Yeah.
So, oh man, see, this might be one of the hardest matchups on this first round, just because I loved Rugrats. Dee Dee was the rock of that family. Like, let's be real, Stu had some issues.
Yeah, a little bit.
And Dee Dee was, I don't know how much she worked, but she was constantly doing things with the kids. I don't know how much she needed to work, because she was essentially taking care of 5 children every day. When only one of them was hers.
Seriously, I hope she was charging her friends for that.
Right?
I don't think it was ever established as a daycare in the show. I think she was just watching all the neighborhood kids.
Exactly. Well, I mean, Chucky's dad probably like started the whole thing with like, "Hey, I'm a single dad and I don't know what the fuck to do with this kid."
Yeah.
But man, Jane Jetson, like the Jetsons was a great show. I loved the Jetsons. I mean, it wasn't Scooby-Doo, but it was a tremendous cartoon that showed what a nuclear family could become in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And Jane Jetson was, for the time, a pretty good mom.
Is Jane, for the sake of this conversation though, is Jane Jetson at a disadvantage because, again, jumping a little bit back to the Carol Brady conversation, the ease of which life presents itself in the future. Cooking dinner is putting a drop of water on something and then putting it in a machine, and then poof, you have a whole dinner, right?
Well, and
you have a robot made.
Yeah, the robot.
Rosie. Yeah,
Rosie.
so that's a little bit easier there. Dee Dee Pickles, on the other hand, though, Dee Dee Pickles was very invested in the idea of being a good parent. I still remember the name Dr. Lipschitz from listening to Dee Dee Pickles talk about it all the time, which, looking back, wild name choice for a kids' TV show, Dr. Lipschitz. But anyway, like, she was obsessed with that psychiatrist and what it meant to be like to raise a kid and be a parent. At the same time, though, and again, I know a lot happened with Stu, but her too, totally irresponsible parent. Like, for the age of those children, she left them unattended, unsupervised, no eyes on them so often.
Yeah,
and
she would put
look
them
at
in
all the
that little-
trouble they got into.
She would put them in that little gate thing, and they knew how to get out. And
Yeah, even
think-
if they didn't as babies, Angelica certainly would know how to open that thing.
yeah.
I understand what you're both saying. However, I feel like I need to defend Dee Dee a little bit, because I think that not only did she prepare, she tried, right? She would, put a gate. She had things, playpens. She kind of knew what she was doing. If they were outside, she was also outside. And then she would just happen to get distracted, or Stu's invention would blow up, or whatever it would be. And then I think the other part is, yes, the kids all got into trouble quite a bit in terms of just like crazy adventures. But at the end of every single episode, who's picking Tommy up? It was Dee Dee. You know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah, but you have to take into consideration that, like, part of the reason why Tommy Pickles is still alive to get picked up at the end of the episode is purely dumb luck.
He's also an incredibly intelligent baby leader,
I mean, yeah, but Dee Dee should have been a little more attentive, I
think for this, personally, as much as I love the Jetsons, I've got to say Dee Dee Pickles is the better mom, in my opinion. I do think, to your point, with the Jetsons' society kind of being more easy, for lack of a better way of putting it. Like,
I think there is a better way of putting it. I think it's just the word easier.
By the way, did you guys know that the Jetsons is set in like 2062?
Yeah,
we're not far away.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
All right, so Matt's giving it to Dee Dee Pickles. Dan, how do you feel?
I mean, look, I'm also going to go with Dee Dee Pickles, and I think the reason is because if you think about your own memories when you were a child, and like, if you ever go back to your high school and think to yourself, man, I remember this place feeling or being a lot bigger than what it is. I think that is because it's relative to your perspective. And when you're a baby, all those great adventures probably still happened in that playpen or surrounding areas. It was their imagination that made the show. Jane Jetson just had it easier, I think. She also had the robot maid and all the futuristic tech.
Listen, give me 2 episodes. No, I'm just kidding. I'm with you. Dee Dee Pickles. I agree.
All right.
Going to make us watch the Jetsons.
Can we even stream? Is that available anywhere? Get in the comments. Let us know if we can stream the Jetsons original run on the.
I would totally be down to watch the Jetsons again.
Hey,
anyway,
watch party. I'm just saying.
Yeah. All right. So we're done with the West half. Well, sort of.
Yeah.
We're going to revisit Chili Healer and Morticia Addams at a later date. We're going to figure out a watch party. We'll advertise it, and we'll find a time to come back to that debate. Awesome. What do we have to look forward to next week?
The East.
Hey, there you go. Simple enough. Let's pick. Let's see. How about this? Pick a little preview. Dan, which East Side Division competition or debate are you most looking forward to?
One of the toughest. I'm going to go with Sophia Petrillo from Golden Girls versus Vivian Banks.
What the? How did you pronounce her last name?
I messed it up.
Okay,
I couldn't. I don't know.
Sophia from Golden Girls.
Sophia. Yeah. I think that's going to be a good one as well. Yeah. As usual, we want to thank everyone for listening. If you could please share the podcast. The beginning of a new bracket is always a good one to jump in on. Find us on all the socials. We are on all of them for now. While they exist or we choose to be. But anyway, Facebook, X, TikTok, YouTube, Snapchat? No. Instagram? Yeah, that's one of them. Find us on there at Bracketology, BRACKETALLOGY.
Who do we have to thank, Scott?
Oh, I'll just do it. Okay. As usual, we also want to thank Aaron O'Donnell from Aaron O'Donnell Music on YouTube for the track that you hear at the beginning and ending of every episode. I think that's everything, right? Is that enough? That's a podcast, right, fellas?
That's a podcast.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean,
see y'all next week. My name is Scott.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Dan.
Bye-bye.